Hello and welcome back to the Common Colt Podcast. A Colts podcast with real takes and no clickbait. I'm Josh Hudgens, joined by Dan Hertzler. What's up, Dan?
Not too much, man. It's been crazy around my household here. We're helping my son move back in after college and doing some renovating. And so I appreciate, hey, Justin, a little shout out there for helping to fill in, give him a little plug here. But man, we're ready to go. It's been a pretty interesting few days here for Colts and their rookie camps. And we want to talk about the main guy, Anthony Richardson. Josh, what's your thoughts on this guy?
Well, speaking of moving from college, Richardson, just 20 years old, is now being handed the keys to a multi-billion-dollar organization. No pressure, Anthony Richardson. Don't screw this up. But listen, I was thinking over the past few days, Frank Reich had said that Andy Dalton's the starter there in Carolina right now, which I don't know if anybody buys that or thinks it was even wise for him to say that. But beyond that, I was thinking about Anthony Richardson, and I know there's a lot of chatter about if he should start day one or not, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But maybe even a step further is how fast do you think he's actually going to develop, or how long will it take for him to become the guy we want him to become? That's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting, fascinating question. And you bring up Frank Wright, and coaches have done that before where they name the starter here in May. And I never
Why?
understood that. Like, what's the purpose of that? Don't you want to get your franchise quarterback more reps, more stuff? It just seems natural that I understand. Hey, first few weeks, maybe not throwing him to the fire, but I just don't get it. I don't understand it. It's not part of my philosophy. To me, this thing with Anthony Richardson, especially over the next, say, 6 months from now until end of September, is going to be a lot more about Shane Steichen than it is about Anthony Richardson. Okay. When you draft a guy or you bring any guy in, whether it's the NFL or whether it's any sports organization, there's some things that you love about the guy, and there's some things that you need to fix and to work on. So we're going to be realistic with Anthony Richardson. There's some things that have to be worked on. We saw that or heard about some of that even in the rookie camp. Some of the over the middle passes that were just erratic and not on target. Some of the accuracy stuff that has been part of kind of his weaknesses coming out of college. That's there. That's real. Okay. But Shane Steichen has to focus in on what is Anthony Richardson really, really good at. And let's focus on that. And then the NFL will adjust to Anthony Richardson. And then Anthony Richardson has to get better at the stuff he's not as good at. But the first 4 to 5 months, this is going to be all about Shane Steichen. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on Anthony Richardson. I'm going to put it on Shane Steichen.
So day one, I mean, well, I guess we'll have to touch that. Do you think he's starting game one, regular season week one? Do you think he trots out there as a starting quarterback?
Well, see, we don't know what he does as far as can he command a huddle? Can he get the play cadence down? Does he understand the language? Okay. That's some of the stuff I think why coaches name their starters right away and they go to the veterans, because some of that, you can't just throw a guy out there. And it's not just about Anthony Richardson, it's about the 10 other guys in the huddle. And those 10 other guys in the huddle have to trust that quarterback understands what they're doing while they're out there. So we don't know that yet. We're not going to see that until preseason. We're not going to see that until we see some real live action. Another part of it is what are the teams we play? Okay, the schedule's going to come out. We'll see kind of what matchups. Say we get Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. Do we really want Anthony Richardson in Arrowhead starting there, throwing him like that? So those are questions I think that have to be waited to find out. But I want to give him as much opportunity. I want him to think that he has a real chance to be the starter, because I want him to take that reins sooner than later. As much as Gardner Minshew can play in the NFL, and I think he's going to be a really good asset for the Colts, he's not the future. He's not the franchise. This is Anthony Richardson, and it's just about Shane Steichen getting Anthony Richardson ready to play.
Yeah, I think he's a lot closer to playing than a lot of people, or at least some people think he is. Right when he got drafted, people are like, "Oh, you got to be patient with this guy. You gotta sit him for a year." No, this guy is gonna play significant snaps in 2023. He is not sitting out the season. He will not, and I'll tell you why. First of all, let's just think about all the quarterbacks in the NFL right now. How many of them actually sat out a whole season? Mahomes as a rookie, and why? The Chiefs were good. They had Alex Smith, who was maybe not top five quarter, but he was good. The Chiefs made the playoffs. You trot Gunnar Minshew out there for 3, 4 games, 5 games. What's going to happen? we're going to lose. We're going to get our butts kicked. And what's everything going to, fans are going to start chirping. Hey, we want to see Richardson. Why not? The veterans on the team, they're thinking, hey, we're losing already. We got a top 5 pick invested in this guy. Why not? And then you know what? Peyton Manning said it, and a lot of NFL players say it. The best way you learn is by playing. That's the best way you learn. You get those reps, live action reps, and you play. I think Richardson's going to play very early in the season. I don't want to see this. I'm going to say, I don't want to see this crap where it's like, okay, Gardner Minshew plays 2 or 3 weeks and then we put Richardson in. What's he going to learn in 2 weeks? Like, I think he's going to play right away. And I'm not saying he's going to be dynamic right away. What I think Shane Steichen's going to do is a lot of 2-read offensive plays, get him settled in, a lot of Jonathan Taylor. Taylor's going to get fed heavy. And then as he gets accustomed to the speed of the game, then we'll see a lot more kind of drop back, read the defense passes. But look, I mean, even Josh Allen, that guy, maybe similar to Anthony Richardson coming out of college, poor accuracy percentage in college, didn't look great, took his lumps his rookie year, comes into the offseason, had significant snaps, then he could learn from that, work on it, and then he blew up his second year. That's what I like to see from Anthony Richardson. I don't think we're even far off from him becoming the franchise quarterback. If he gets those snaps, I don't think it's going to be a 3, 4, or 5 year thing. I think within 2 seasons, we'll feel confident that this guy is our guy.
Oh, I have even greater high hopes than that. I think he's going to come out and he's potentially to be dynamic in those areas that he can be dynamic in. Like you mentioned, read options. You mentioned, some of the quick bubble screens, some of the quicker hitter stuff, some of the deep balls. We see just a great deep ball taking advantage of teams cheating up. If Shane Steichen can harness these really good things about Anthony Richardson, we're going to see a dynamic player right off the bat. And then it's going to be about the adjustments. That's what you see. Some of these rookie quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson. I remember, even Cam Newton, even throwbacks to guys, that came out and blazing their rookie years, had good years. I think that's the potential. The real measure of a quarterback is not how they start, but it's how they keep adjusting, keep learning. As teams try to take away their strengths, then they get better at other areas. But right off the bat, this is all about Shane Steichen. How can you put together an offense that is going to maximize this raw talent that you have and get them in there right away? So outside of the fact that can he command a huddle, can the other 10 guys trust him, outside the fact of the schedule, I'm all in for Anthony Richardson starting day one. And I think he should be the one that should be thinking that way. I don't think any other kind of, we're just going to wait, any kind of, this is who the starter is. That stuff should not be talked about right now. You should be wanting to hand the keys to Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. And then again, we titled this video, How Fast Can He Develop? I think it's going to be fast, but let's put into perspective just to define what a franchise guy is. Don't think Peyton Manning. Don't think Andrew Luck. I think that style of the drop back passer is kind of prehistoric nowadays. And Anthony Richardson isn't that. He's never going to be as elegant of a passer as even what Andrew Luck was, and certainly not Peyton Manning. This guy is going to be, think Jalen Hurts, maybe a high end, maybe think Josh Allen, somebody like that at his peak. That's the potential there. So it'll never be as pretty as a 3-step back shoulder fade consistently to Marvin Harrison type of stuff. But what we're going to get is a dynamic player who can put this team on his back and consistently be the reason why we're in games and can win games and ultimately win a Super Bowl. That's what I define as a franchise quarterback, not a guy that's consistently throwing 45 times a game for 80% completion percentage and, 4 touchdowns. I don't think that's what we're going to get from Richardson consistently.
And you mentioned Jalen Hurts, and we're going to do a video actually, I think, on that about looking at Jalen Hurts' development and kind of seeing how maybe Anthony Richardson will develop. It's a really great topic because you have the same offense coordinator, same coach. And I think it's something the Colts need to start paying attention to. And that's kind of what we're going to get you guys set up for, because we believe that just as Jalen Hurts developed, we think Anthony Richardson can have the same path to stardom like he has in Philly there.
Yep. Guys, let us know what you think. Make sure to comment. Let us know how fast you think he can get this going. Obviously, subscribe to our channel if you want to keep plugged into more Colts content. We appreciate you watching the Common Colt Podcast, and have a great day.